Welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name's Jenny Senaparatna. Grab your favorite drink, get yourself a snack, and we will get started. Today I have glazed lemon loaf. It's a decaf tea. It is so good. And mini peanut butter M&Ms. Like, I love peanut butter M&Ms, but the minis, so good. All right, so today is 2 of my Morocco solo trip. Woohoo! Now, this is when things get really interesting. All right, so now you know I have been on a solo trip all by myself to Morocco. Not what I anticipated. I thought I'd be with the tour. I'm not. It is just Jenny in Morocco, and I kind of left off where God is in charge. Okay, so he drops me off at the hotel, my guide, and he's like, I'll pick you up in the morning. And I'm like, okay, great. So I get up to the room and someone carries my luggage, and he actually pats me on the back because I have tears streaming down my face. And he said, ma'am, you'll be okay. Come down to dinner. So he was like, yeah, absolutely. I talked to the manager. He was like, yes, don't worry about it. Come down, have dinner. I called my family. I cried. I told them what was going on. Like, everything has changed and I don't know what to do. And I just said, pray. Guys, I need prayer. Like, that's just where I was. I was like, this is not a good situation. Could I have gone out? Yeah, I probably could have. But was that a wise move? No, so I did not. I decided to be wise and stay in the hotel. And that was really frustrating to me because I wanted to be there. I was like 2 blocks away from the beach. I wanted to go explore. I wanted to go see the city that I was in. That's why I was there, was to explore it, and I couldn't because I wanted to be respectful of the holiday that they were celebrating, and I was a woman, and I didn't have any coverings, and it was a whole thing. So I decided to stay in the hotel. I did have a delicious meal. And then I had a very weird breakfast, which I ended up doing a video of, and it was a unique breakfast, but was fine. So I get downstairs, I've got my backpack on, I've got everything packed up, and I'm waiting for him to be there. And he's there, and he's talking about Ramadan and what it means to be a Muslim, and what it means to pray. And I'm kind of like, oh, I know a little bit about prayer. Just a little bit. We just pray to different gods. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, he was just like, it's okay, madam, you prayed to the wrong God. And I'm like, so do you. Like, it was fine. It was respectful enough. And our bus was late. And so he was like, we're going to go pick up a tour. And I'm like, great. This will be good. Now I'll be with 30 people. It'll be just fine. No problem. So we get to the port. I have to go back to the port where I did not have such a lovely time to begin with. Like, I don't have great memories of this port. Last time I was here, there were machine guns and major security, lots of tears, and fists flying. So I'm not a big fan of coming back to this place. But what do? I'm with the tour guide. Like, that's just the way things are. I have a short sleeve shirt on. It is 45 degrees and super windy. I mean, like, hair standing up windy. And some other guy comes over and he was like, can I give you my jacket? And my tour guide was like, no. And I was like, yeah, actually, he could give me his jacket. Like, I'm fine with that. And he's like, no, she likes the cold. And I was like, okay, like, don't fight with my tour guide, right? So he starts introducing me to all the other tour guides. He's like, this is Jennifer. She has no one on her tour, you know, and he started introducing me to people, which I thought was a little strange, but okay, here I am. Like, I don't really know, like, right? Well, he was trying to find someone to take me off his hands. That's really what it was. Because the tour that was coming in got stuck on the boat. They couldn't open the doors of the boat. And so he ends up calling in a friend. I think he's a friend. I'm not sure. And this guy comes and is like, I'm now your tour guide. And I'm like, okay. And they got my original tour guide is named Hajesh. My next tour guide is named Hajesh. to be fair, I don't think that was their name, but that's okay. And he's like, this is going to be a VIP tour now, Jenny. And I'm like, I don't want a VIP tour. I want a tour with the 30 people. I don't want to, I want to be with everybody else. I don't want to be by myself. I was by myself last night. I don't want, right? So he was like, no, VIP, VIP. This is going to be great. So now he sends me with another person in another taxi and says, go have a great day. I will see you later this afternoon. And I'm like, what? He was like, I'm going to wait for these guys to get off the bus. Now, I think this is what he's saying because his main language is Arabic. And that's fine. But I think that's what he said. And he's like, we'll meet up later. So you get in. So once again, I am put in another taxi all by myself with now 2 men that one speaks English. One does not. He's completely Arabic. He does not speak any English, which is fine. And we are now in a car driving the countryside of Morocco, which I don't know where we're going. I have no idea. Like, I was not told what the agenda was because they changed the agenda from what I signed up for. You know how you like look at your tours and you're like, okay, at 9:30 I'll be doing this and that. Like, I knew all that. Well, that was all out the window. Like, I no longer know where I know I'm in Morocco. That's all I know. And I know that I'm in the back seat of a taxi, but I don't know where we're going. And he's talking in the front and he's not looking at me. He's just talking. And I think he's talking to me, but he also slips in and out of Arabic. So I get about half of what he's saying. I did find out some fun facts. Fun fact, you have to watch out for wild boar because the Muslims do not eat pork and neither do the Jewish people. And that is who mostly live in that area. So no one will kill the wild boar because they don't believe in killing animals without eating them. So the wild boar are rampant and are really dangerous. So they've got a lot of like wild boar signs. You know how like in Minnesota or almost anywhere else there's like deer signs? Watch out for deer. Yeah, this was watch out for wild boar. So that was interesting. I thought that was kind of fun. I saw the person in charge's palace. I think it's, now I can't remember what it was called. The guy in charge. I saw his palace. That was exciting, kind of. I mean, we just drove by because I was a single woman, so I couldn't go in. Because they were like, normally we go in, but you can't, so sorry. And I was like, okay. So I couldn't go see that because that wasn't possible because I was alone. And then we went up to this place and he was like, this is where, which was really cool. I'm going to just be honest. It was totally cool. This is where the Mediterranean and the Atlantic Ocean meet. This is the spot right here. And so on this side is the Mediterranean, on this side is the Atlantic. And he's like, if you squint across, you can see Spain. So that's Europe. This is Africa. Cool. Like, it was cool. That was a cool moment. And everybody there was a Chinese tour group. So there was like 60 people all speaking in Chinese. And that was so fun because I was the only non-Chinese person at this particular spot at this particular time. There's a huge tour bus, all Chinese. And they were like, my tour guide was like, can I just get my one person in? He talked to him in Mandarin and so then the whole thing had to stop and I got in and I got my picture and it was so cool. It was really cool. And then all of the people because we're driving now down the coast of Morocco. I don't know what he's saying. I have no clue. It's just, there we are. Jenny's as blind as a bat at this point. We stop and there's the beach and there's camel rides. I get off and I get to take a camel ride right there on the beach. And it was just beautiful. It was really quick and really fast. I mean, it was really fast and really cheap, but it was like the thing of a lifetime. And then we went to this cave and I'd kind of like learned about the cave. It had a lot to do with like Hercules and I don't know. It was fine. But we get up to the top and my tour guide was like, you need to go use the restroom. And I was like, no, I'm good. And he's like, nope, you're going to use the restroom. And so he gave me my money. He asked me for money and then he split it in half and gave me my 50 cents to go use the restroom. Or 50-cent euro or whatever, because that's how much it cost to go use the restroom. So I had to go use the restroom. And then I came out and I was like, I'm going to go to the gift shop, right? I'm on a personal tour at this point. I'm just going to like do what I want to do, right? He's like, no, you're not. No, you can't go to the gift shop. And I'm like, why? He's like, it's Ramadan. You can't go to the gift shop. Okay. So he's like, I've ordered you a drink. Sit down. And I was like, okay, like, okay, here I am. I don't like to fight anyway. Like, I don't like to fight, right? Like, that's not my thing. I don't want to, like, upset anybody. But I've never been told when to use a restroom, that I can't go shopping. Like, it was kind of a interesting, like, Jenny had to, like, take a moment back here, right? Really. And so he ordered me a drink. It was, like, mint tea with, like, live mint teas inside. It was, and he said, no sugar. And I said, oh, no sugar. And he was like, no sugar. And I said, no, sugar. And so he looked at the guy. He was like, little sugar. So I got a little sugar. At least I won that. Like, right? Like I won my little bit of sugar. So we sit there and I'm like, why are we sitting here? Like, and he's not talking to me and he can't drink or eat with me. It's just me. And the tea was too hot to drink. And so then he like got mad at the guy because he had made it too, like it was a whole thing. And I'm just like, now we're fighting and I didn't even want this drink. Okay, here we are. So I paid for my drink because he didn't pay for it. I did. But he ordered it, but okay, whatever. Because I'm not allowed to order it. I found out that later, that as a woman, I wasn't allowed to order it, which, okay, that's just a new thing for me, right? Like this is just all new to Jenny. And so eventually the tour shows up. Now, we were there for a smidge. And the tour shows up with the original tour guide. And he's like, Jenny, on the bus. And I'm like, well, all the tour is kind of looking around. Can I go look around too? He's like, no, you need to get on the bus. And I'm like, okay, I'll get on the bus. Like, okay, I'll get on the bus. So I get on the bus. And now I'm officially with the tour. And I was just like, oh, good. I'm going to go sit in the back and I'm just going to relax and follow the tour. No. I had to sit in the front because that was my allotted spot. And that was just, I'm going to keep an eye on you, is what he said. No crying here. I'm going to keep an eye on you. You need to smile. And so I smiled a lot. And it was the craziest day, guys. I'm telling you, it was just crazy. And so I'm now on this bus and I realize I am not on an English speaking tour. I am on a French tour. Everyone on the bus but me speaks French. So now I don't even know what's going on. Like it is officially, Jenny is completely like, I was ready for Spanish. I should have been ready for Arabic, but I was not ready for French in any way. And then he said, I signed up for an English tour, not a French tour. So he takes us around. I have no idea what we were looking at. Honestly, I have no clue until he said, get off the bus. And so I got off the bus. He said, leave your stuff on the bus. Okay. And we take off. And I honestly was just following the crowd. We get to a market. My second tour guide, my second Hajjesh, who had ordered me and gotten me on the camel and done the whole thing, he stayed with me the whole time and explained to me what was going on, which I so appreciated. And he gave me information that I needed to understand because I had no idea what they were talking about. And so he explained what was going on, and he explained that we were walking into the gates, and there's 5 gates because it's a Muslim market, and so they're big into 5, and we're gonna go have lunch, and this is what we're gonna do. And I sit down at a table, and they're playing loud music, and I'm sitting down, and I realize that no one at my table speaks English. They all speak French, and they're like, what is this weird lady that we picked up on the side of the road doing here? Because I wasn't part of the group. And so I sit at a table and I just enjoy whatever they brought out. I have no idea what they brought out. But actually, it was quite delightful. It was couscous, and they had a bunch of different sauces, and I tried everything. I enjoyed it. It was so fun. You sat on the pillows, and it was amazing. It really was. And then he brought us through the market, and he talked. My tour guide, I think, told me totally different things than what everybody else was learning, but that's okay. We went to the oldest Jewish synagogue there. We went to the oldest Muslim mosque there. We went up and down the streets, and then they said, we're going to have free time. And I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. This moment right here. This is what I booked the tour for, was to have free time in Morocco. And the two tour guides, one of them was going to go to a jewelry shop, and one was going to go to an oil shop. And they said, you have to come with one of us because you're single. And I said, oh, thank you. No. And they said, no, you have to. And I'm like, but there's lots of single ladies here. No, I'm not. And so I went shopping in the market all by myself. Did I get lost? Yes, I did. I got very lost. Did I end up crying? Yes, I did. Did I buy these fabulous earrings and probably pay more than I should have? Yes, but I love them. I had so much fun. I really did. There were so many cultural moments that I got to witness and that really have shaped my belief system in a new way that I just can't quite say yet, because it was just so wonderful to be in the midst of, I would walk into a store and the gentleman would be reading and praying because it was Ramadan, and I would disrupt that and feel so horrible that I disrupted their time because anytime there's not someone in the store, they're praying and they're reading, and I just was like, wow, my devotion needs to be taken up a notch, is really where I was. I was like, wow, it was so interesting. One man I got to talk to a little bit about his faith and what that meant to him in very broken English, to be fair. And I'm sure he was like, why am I telling this woman this? Because I did not have my head covered. I had a short sleeve shirt on. I felt very out of place. But I got to learn about their culture, and it was really interesting to me. Then we went home, and honestly, a lot more happened later that I'll probably talk about other times, because I got lost again, ended up in tears. It was a mess. Like, the whole 48 hours was Jenny just crying and trusting God, was really what it was. It was crying and trusting God. In the middle of the square, as we're about to leave, a young woman who is probably in her 20s, some man said something to her, and her husband got very, very angry, and they started fighting, and he beat the other guy down for saying something to his wife, and his wife was carried away by her hair. And everyone in my tour, they wanted to get involved. There was this, and the men actually stepped in between us and stopped the foreigners from getting involved, because she was his property. And that's what they told us. And they said, do not. And our tour guide was like, don't get involved. It's very scary. And for me, it was just a moment of, Lord, thank you for my freedom. Thank you for allowing me to be born in a space that I have the independence to go have dinner by myself, and that it never dawned on me that a single woman didn't have the same rights as everybody else. It just never made sense to me until I was there. And that I have had the opportunity to speak and be a minister and be a pastor and do a podcast. And I'm just so grateful for what God has given me in my life. And that's really the whole point of this story, other than it was chaotic and wild, and sometimes you just have to share. I hope that's okay. But really, I'm so grateful for the opportunities that God has given me and for this podcast and for you listening, and for those of you that prayed and got me home. Because there were a lot of opportunities that I did get lost and that I maybe wouldn't have made it home. And God was so faithful through prayers. And I just really appreciate all of you and the times that you prayed while I was gone. And just so grateful that God has given me the opportunity to be a woman in the U.S. And I'm just really grateful for that. Well, that's all I have this week. I know maybe this isn't super profound, but it was an interesting trip, and there's so much more happened, but I'll talk about it in another podcast. So hopefully you can have a great week and see what God has blessed you with. As you look around your life and go, wow, God has really blessed me. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but when you get in a scenario where your basic things are kind of taken away, you realize how blessed you are to be able to have the freedom that you have in your life right now. And so I hope that you see that this week. You can find me at Real Life with Jenny on Instagram and Facebook. You can support this podcast by going in the link below. But first of all, like, subscribe, share, all those things, please, on this. I would really appreciate it. You all have a great week.